Matthew Marks, ladies and gentlemen, our head of sales. How you doing this morning, Matty?
I'm doing all right. Kent, how about yourself?
I'm good, buddy. So, general public, today we're going to give you guys an update on all things real estate in the month of Panama, in the month of August in Panama. Sorry. Here we go. All right, Matty. So, this morning's headlines, I saw our old boy Mulino, the new president of Panama. I don't know if you saw the news this morning, but my man is talking about making some additions to the Constitution, some changes. Did you see that? I will be following up on that, but
I saw the headline. It's on my morning reading list, but this morning, honestly, I was catching up on the MLS report from last month.
okay, cool. Well, that is apropos for this conversation. Just staying on the president a little bit. I think he's been in office for what, a month now. What has he been up to that might either positively or negatively affect our real estate market?
It's all rainbows and sunshine over here. The
My
the
man,
word on the street, everyone is very happy with the new administration,
I'm seeing it.
and it's not just the federal administration with the president, but also locally. People are very happy with the Panama City mayor. Um, there's a lot of road work going on. They're fixing a lot of the potholes, a lot of the issues with flooding. I haven't seen the unemployment numbers, but if they're not close to 1%, I'd be shocked. There just seems to be a lot of activity on the street.
Yeah, no, agreed. I'm seeing it. I mean, they started work behind our house on Via Argentina, finally getting some stuff done. Love the new mayor. Guys, check this out. Matt, I'm sure this came across your radar as well, but my man, Mayor Mizrachi, has just allowed it. Panama, we're a very formal country. Everything has to be, like long pants and closed shoes and collars when you go visit the government. Well, Meyer Misrachi, our mayor, last week said, you know what, mayor's office, you can bring your dog, you can come in flip flops, chancletas, short sleeves, shorts, all good. I agree with you, Matt. And, guys, you can expect us to also keep it real here. I do get a little concerned when coming out of the gate, riding very high approval ratings. He's already talking about the Constitution. I don't think this is the kind of guy that set himself up for a dictatorship. We are well past that
Mhm.
politically and historically. But okay, cool. Anything? Any harbingers? I don't know how to say that word. Harbingers? Anything? Any storm clouds? Anything? I mean, we're in August. It's usually kind of slow. We'll get into guys in this conversation, and Matt doesn't know what I'm going to ask. And sorry to interrupt you as you're getting ready to answer, Matt. But just so you guys know, he has no idea what I'm going to ask him. I'm trying to be devil's advocate. And the idea is to bring you guys up to speed as if you worked here and you knew what was going on in the market. So, to my question, Matt, anything making you nervous these days?
Not really. This has been a strange year. Historically, like you mentioned, July and August are the doldrums for us. It gets really slow.
Yeah.
Typically, it's when I like to take vacation, lined up with summer vacation with the kids, but it's been nonstop, and most of it is investors who are concerned about world politics. Even more specifically, we're in a U.S. election cycle,
Yeah.
so investors are getting ahead of the curve and starting to make their headway on what they want to purchase or what they want to invest in before November, and kind of get ahead of the curve. It's been a strange year. It's the first time I'm here in Panama during a double election cycle where the Panamanian president was elected the same year as the U.S. election, and
Right.
it's been a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, we were worried. We thought things were just going to kind of grind to a halt, and they kind of did prior to the US or the Panamanian election, just because you always have that uncertainty with sellers. In our case, in
Mhm.
Panama, just trying to want to see how things are going to shake out. Has that movement on your end, and as the owner of the company, I can confirm, your colleagues are also rocking, and as you see their numbers as well. Has that been enough to move prices?
Um, I've actually seen a little bit of a downward trend on that from where they were this time last year. A
Okay.
lot of that is because sellers have been on the market for such a long time. They are starting to have their moment where they're realizing, okay, maybe I'm a little overpriced, and I'll make an adjustment. And that has worked, as you would expect. More sales are happening because of those adjustments in prices. Then when you go towards the luxury market, especially with developers, we're talking Ocean Reef, we're talking Santa Maria. Those prices are still stable. Ocean Reef is still selling at above $5,000 per meter. Uh, Santa Maria, anywhere from 3,500 to over $4,000 a meter. So we're still seeing those prices stay up here, and the resale market maybe a notch below that. Those prices are starting to dip a little bit.
Interesting. So developers seem to be holding the line. Resellers are seeing the end of the year and saying, I do not want to own this property for another year. The doldrums of June and July's election lead up have been kind of affected those guys. So it's brought prices down. Are you seeing published prices on resales actually come down a little bit, or just sellers be a little bit more open to sharpening the pencil?
It's pretty clear to see who's been on the market for a long time and who's just now listing. Initial listings, they're still starting up high, and they like to say, "Well, I'm negotiable." And then the folks that have been on the market for, let's call it 8 months to a year, they're realizing, "Oh, I need to make an adjustment," and they're publishing their prices a little bit lower and not having to negotiate as much. And that's kind of the sweet spot. You're going to attract more buyers at that point, and you won't have to negotiate as much because you know you're listed at the right price, as opposed to what we traditionally see in the local market where they want to list high and have
Yeah.
more room built in for negotiation.
Yeah. Yeah. With just the only comp as, well, my neighbor's at 2 million. Why? Well, he's been at 2 million for quite some time. No, I mean, Matt, I've always admired your um approach to research and kind of multi-pronged, getting a lot of information from a lot of different sources. So yeah, I think that benefits both the sellers you work with and our buyers. So cool, man. So top selling project. Oh, actually, you know what? Yeah, we can. I'll ask that. Top selling projects right now. You mentioned Santa Maria. You mentioned Ocean Reef, guys. Those are kind of
Hmm.
luxury. But in general, and feel free to speak on those as well. But like those areas. But what would you say is kind of like just feels really hot right now, flying off the shelf, if you will, if anything?
I find that I'm spending a lot of time right now at Costa del Este, which was Santa Maria 15 years ago.
Sure.
Because of the adjustment of the prices, those buildings are now, they're over a decade old.
Yeah.
So there is some inventory there, not as much as we saw in years past, but the prices have stabilized. They've dropped a bit, and so people are seeing opportunity there. Also, if you're not complete oceanfront, there are still opportunities in Costa del Este because of that, the location of the multinational offices. So an investor could get in there at a reasonable price and have a pretty solid tenant for a few years on someone who might be transferred down to Panama to work at, the Nestle office or Procter and Gamble or any of the other multinational corporations in the area.
Sure. Yeah. Right across the street in some cases. So and talking about investors, what kind of yields are you typically seeing once somebody closes and rents out a property? And this is, kind of true like cap rate after everything.
Yeah,
You give
and,
a
and we bake
range.
in, even time for vacancy,
Yeah.
what you may have to
Commissions.
invest, unexpected expenses. And we're still seeing investors net around 4%, um, you know, at the end
Net
of the
net.
year after they've paid all their expenses.
Yeah, after all that jazz. Cool. Yeah, I mean, which would probably imply like a gross of around 7 or 8. Um
That's right.
just because, if you've got repairs, vacancy, commissions, especially built into the first year, and then your gravy once they renew, because yeah, commissions get drastically reduced, obviously no vacancy. And I would say that your property management division is doing a pretty good job. I was looking at numbers last week. Our occupancy is high. I think we have like 3 units of the, I don't know, 80 that we manage right now that are empty and getting shown and probably gonna rent this week. So yeah, the rental market seems fairly active as well. What are rents doing? Let's say Costa del Este. What are you seeing for somebody who's thinking about renting or perhaps putting their property on the market for rent? Is August a good time, and what are prices doing?
August is a great time. Typically that's when it's June through August when people are, planning their move down from the U.S. Especially if you
Hmm.
have children, you want to get them
U.S.
signed up for
summer.
school. before the school
Yep.
year.
Good
Sure.
call.
So I actually have seen an increase in price. It's not a drastic increase, but inventory is down on rentals right now. So I have seen prices increase. Let's call it about 5%.
It's a little blip, man. That's okay. Especially if they hold, because it might then
Hmm.
follow up with people relocating kind of towards the end of the year or like at the beginning of the year type thing. So yeah, we always watch those because of course that does affect yields, and we have a lot of clients looking to rent and or rent out their place. Interest rates up in the US, they just dropped. So obviously Panama, we do like I think it's LIBOR plus a couple. Are you seeing anyone getting into the market because of better interest rates, or are most of your buyers still cash buyers?
Most of my buyers are cash buyers. Um, the issue that I typically see with foreign buyers coming to Panama is we don't do fixed rates. So the fact that the interest rate could be adjustable is concerning. Right
Yeah,
now, what I'm seeing is about 7% still. The banks are still towing that line at 7% plus the 1% government tax. So essentially,
imagine.
it's an 8% loan. Yeah, so it is a bit different than the US. We don't see as much movement on. They toe the line here locally.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, long story short, you will not be cash flow positive if you're using leverage more than, typical LTVs of like 60, 70%, unless you put more cash down and then, just do your own math. Um, but still, yeah. But yeah, cash on cash, like Matt said, you can still bank on 4% conservatively. Sometimes if we knock it out of the park on the buy side and then rent it quickly and high, oh, perfect scenario. You could juice that number a little bit, but you can't really ever plan on that. You just celebrate when you get it happen, when you make it happen. Okay, cool. So let's talk about offers right now. So you see a property on the market for X. Are you giving any guidance in terms of sort of ballpark, like, yeah, you can expect to negotiate about this much, or does it really depend on the actual property?
Well, it does. It depends on the actual property and what the listing price is. I love running comps. I love seeing what else is sold in the building, in the neighborhood. But generally, a good general rule of thumb is, about 8% off of asking price. Um, I was reading the MLS report this morning, and that's exactly what they came up with. Most sales were
Mm.
within, that 8% of asking price. So that would be a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, I hear you. MLS, it's good. It's another good source. I think I saw something like 170 closed transactions on the July report, something like that. But then you pop into like a Panama comps, if you run every building, you see that there were literally hundreds. I mean, do you see the MLS kind of slowly capturing more of the market in terms of um, more people listing on there? I mean, we list some of our properties, but not all of them on the MLS.
So last month there were 157 new residential listings that were put onto the market. That was surprising to see such a high number. I do see more people willing to go down that route. I've even had in the past couple of weeks a couple of my Panamanian sellers contact me to inquire about the MLS. So I don't
Oh,
know if it's just
they
a
want to
blip on
use
the
us.
radar, if it's going to start to take away the trend, but we'll keep pushing it because it does create a good scenario for the sellers. They only have one person to reach out to. And typically if an agent does have an MLS listing, it is going to get a larger push. It's going to get a lot more love as far as marketing goes, and I like that trend.
Certainly for us, I mean, they get the full red carpet in terms of media resources, the shoot itself. I'm glad we're using David now for these crazy like virtual tours and
Hmm.
all kinds of high tech um, shots as well. I mean, yeah, like it's not bad. We obviously don't take overpriced listings, and a lot of people are comfortable listing with multiple agents if they're just sort of it's a crapshoot for them. Um, So yeah, it's okay, cool. And then most expensive neighborhoods, I think you talked about that already. You know, you mentioned Santa Maria, you mentioned Ocean Reef, the islands out there. What about Costco? You seen any activity in Casco Viejo?
I am seeing activity now. Casco Viejo is interesting because there I see the largest gulf between developer pricing and what's actually on the resale market. The
Interesting.
developer pricing, Santa Familia is at $5,000 a meter. Um, there are some other projects that are closer to 3,500 a meter. But then when you look at the resale market, the prices really have taken a large dip, and
Mm,
sellers are either breaking even or even selling at a loss if they're extremely motivated.
yeah. Well, that sucks. Is it what would you attribute that trend to? Such a
Um,
disparity between developer and resale pricing.
yeah, I've put a lot of thought into this, and the developers they're selling you the brand new car. It's shiny, it's beautiful, it's prime locations, and it has amazing amenities. Um,
Ah,
the advantage that the developers have is they can add a swimming pool, they can add an elevator or generator, whereas some of these older buildings do not have those amenities. Many
fair.
buildings in Casco don't even have an elevator. So you have to walk up 3 or 4 flights of stairs to get to your condo, and it may be beautiful inside, but you're still walking up those stairs. The other thing that I'm noticing, though, um, the preferred interest rate has expired. So now you can no longer get that preferred
That's
interest rate in
right.
Casco, and that's scared away some of the investors.
Yeah. Yeah, you used to have like a subsidized mortgage rate depending on yeah, where you purchased it, in this case Costco. Good point. And I mean, in the market's defense, you don't ever have to defend the market cuz the market is what it is. But like you said, there is a big disparity between like brand new shiny and like kind of older. So it's not necessarily that as soon as you buy in like a Santa Familia or something, the price immediately drops. I mean, I guess to an extent it does because now you are competing with other quote unquote used properties, but there's not a whole lot of true comps for like a Santa Familia, which is like oceanfront. You got like a library in the lobby, all fancy. Speaking of
Yeah.
fancy, Casco View, I think is worth a mention. So I finally got out to see Brian. It had been about a month. Um, that project is looking great, man. I mean, I think he has a little gem there, little oasis in
hmm
the not historic district. I mean, he's still a few blocks out of the historic district and all the good and bad that comes with that. But what are your thoughts on that particular project?
I'm extremely bullish on Casco View.
Okay.
The investors that saw Brian's vision, that realized it was the path of progress, and they were investing in a neighborhood that wasn't quite where what they wanted it to be, but it was going to catch up.
Yep.
Those early investors are really doing well. But there's still opportunity for people that maybe didn't get on the train early on. You know, they can. There's still some really good inventory with Brian. The property is just fantastic. It's got great views on whatever side of the building you're on, not just towards Casco. The
Yeah.
amenities are great. The swimming pool on the 6th floor, and the location is really growing. You're seeing other projects come up around the area, and you're seeing that area specifically get cleaned up and really, really beautiful, safe to walk around. I really like the project.
Yeah, it's happening, man. I mean, I was one of those early investors. Obviously, I think you know the story. I sold it to buy out my former partners in Panama Equity to be the only owner, but
hmm
like, it came out super nice. Like the quality is there. The developer
hmm
is very kind of meticulous. I don't the idea wasn't to like, just blow it up on the conversation, but I was just over there. It did come out nice. Is he getting the higher rents that he was hoping for? Like, are people paying that?
From what I understand, they're really doing well in the short term market. He's had a
Mm,
really good occupancy with the Airbnbs. I
yeah,
haven't really looked into the long term renters, but I know that the
sure.
short term renters are really liking that area because of the proximity to Casco. And
A
what we alluded to
insider
before,
tip.
it has the amenities.
It has the amenities. Sorry to
Mhm.
interrupt you, but I did see a graphic from him last week after I visited. This guy is a freaking whiz. So what he did, he partnered with like Marriott, and he's got Wynwood in there. He's got I think maybe even not Airbnb. Obviously, that's not, you don't have to partner with them, but like he's got a setup where you can use your like Marriott points to stay in that unit. That alone will open up a huge market. So yeah, when he said that, I might try to pull up that. Let me see if I can share it really quickly. Hold on. I don't want to take too much time to do this. Dangerous. This is it. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
I cannot.
Okay. Well, whatever. What I'm looking at is Homes and Villas, VRBO, Booking.com, Wynwood House, and like I said, he just added this Marriott. Oh, there it is. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Technical.
There we go.
Okay. Anyway, and he just added boom, 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 and just added the Homes and Villas by Marriott International. Ta-da! It's a big deal. Anyway, yeah, that got me fired up because that's innovative. That's unique. Nobody's doing that in Panama for rentals. He's able to do that because he owns 50 units in that building. So he's got a huge vested interest. Oh yeah, and he wants to sell them too, right? So anyway, yeah, I'm with you, man. That project did come out. That project is definitely worth looking at. Any final thoughts, Matt, to give people some August 2024 Panama real estate market insight?
I would just encourage people, if you're planning your trip, start reaching out now. We are gearing up for a very busy second half of the year, especially with the election cycle. I keep alluding to it, but traditionally we have seen once November rolls around and the results are in, people start coming down in droves. So you want to get ahead of that curve.
That's what I'm talking about. Facts. Right on. Maddie, thank you. Thank you, public, for watching, sharing, liking. Buy low, sell high. Matt Marks, head of sales, Panama Equity. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.